Good morning, esteemed members of the media, distinguished colleagues from SARO. I am privileged to address you today to unveil our coaching team for the 2027 Rugby World Cup campaign. Over the past 6 years, we have achieved significant successes in nurturing and retaining our marquee players and coaching staff. This marks a departure from South African rugby's previous practice of overhauling head coaches and their management team following each World Cup cycle. A strategy that historically hindered our continuity with the Springboks and our game plan, and the cultivation of new talent as well as the balance of youth and experience amongst our ranks. Today, we lay the foundation of a robust pipeline of player development and a structured pathway for coaching enhancement to prominent roles within South African rugby. This milestone could not have happened without the visionary leadership of our outgoing Director of Rugby and the strategic direction of our recent reappointment of our new head coach, Rassie Erasmus. So without further ado, I'll invite Rassie to share some insights into his management team. Rassie.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. Morning, everybody. I'm sure there will be lots of questions. Just from my side, thanks for being here. Thanks for all the support. I was thinking of writing a letter to the country and saying thank you for what they are doing to us, but I mean, who am I to write a letter like that? Thank you for supporting us. There were some tough times last year in that World Cup where surely media and supporters could have turned around us and have turned against us and said, well, this is not the way it should be done, could be done, and a team selection, and trusted us with squad splits and even make our forwards back at the World Cup. So yes, we're now on a new path. We lost two of our coaches, not lost, they got new opportunities. Not to say that they can't be back with us in the future. And then we've put two new guys in, which I know really well. You might not know them that well, but I know them way back from when I coached. Always going to call them Tom and Jerry, but Tony and Jerry. And Tony played, and I coached with him a long time ago at the Stormers, and then we coached against him with Japan. And then you got Jerry, who's I think Heineken Cup semi-finals and Pro 14 final. I coached with him and Felix. Yeah. So first there'll be a lot of questions. Just thank you again. I would love to have to work with you guys again in the manner as head coach like we did in 2018, 2019, where it's a three-way thing where. We do our best for the main thing, that is coaching and playing. We give you enough access so you guys can judge if you're doing stuff on the right way or not, and you can report correctly to the supporter out there, which I think has grown the last couple of years, because they can't just judge us on Saturday if they don't have any info of what we did during the week. So I think it's again that stronger together. It's us, it's you, and it's supporters out there. So yeah, that's enough for me. I think we're okay for questions.
Yes, thanks, Ross and Mark. Can we now just take two questions from Matt to kick off the broadcast, and then can you please raise your hands for questions, and we'll get a microphone to ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Zina. Mark, Rassie, thank you. Rassie, just a little more on the appointment of Jerry and Tony, with no disrespect to the outgoing coaches. How important, having come off back-to-back Rugby World Cup wins, is it to have different voices, new ideas to freshen up an environment?
Yeah, I must say we as a group had obviously first our coaches workshop on Monday and Tuesday, or Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, and then the players came in on Wednesday. And we had a session where we actually decided, not that we are clever with that, it's just everybody gave input, and we decided that probably the three things that will make us stop winning, if we work as hard as we did in the past, that will give us a good chance, but it's probably the lack of leadership, the lack of creativity or the abundance of arrogance. One of those three things can possibly stop you from doing the same things over and over again, not being creative. So that's my first answer, is that we can't do things exactly the same we did. Not to say that Jacques and Felix would have, but having the new two faces in, which is not that new. Jerry has joined us prior to officially being in the camp for 1 week in our training sessions. And then Tony, we all strive to get that perfect game between attack and defense. And it's again two guys coming in, and one will try and get his best of defense, and the other one will try his best of attack. But most important in our team, there's a responsibility on defense, which will be Jerry, but all the other coaches give input, and at the end of the day accountable for how we defend or do the attack. They've slotted in really nicely. We had some good sessions. I understand our system pretty good, and that will now just get better. So yeah, if you want to ask more about them, where they'll be based and those kind of things, I can tell you, but at this stage it's going really well.
And just one more question from me about the schedule upcoming for the international season, the looming 2-test series against Ireland, both matches sold out within a matter of hours, and then the addition of the Wales test at Twickenham and the importance of that in preparation for the Ireland series.
Yeah, we can't really say the Wales test is preparation for the Irish test. Obviously the Wales test is outside the test match window. So the 43 boys or men that was here the other day for the alignment camp, the team will probably be selected out of them, plus a few Japanese players, but no English, French, or we're not quite sure where we are currently with Ireland and Kitchoff at Ulster and those kind of things, and Ergier and those guys. Obviously, there's also some URC games still that specific weekend. Yeah, so definitely there will be other guys playing in that match, but that is almost a standalone test match, because the guys that will play there, some of them will not play in the Ireland test match. So I won't put it out as a warm-up match for the Ireland test match. I will put it out as a big test match against Wales, who's trying to fire and not fire somebody, but trying to get a spark. And they definitely have some young guns in there that's close to producing some magic. So it will be tough test matches against all 4 countries.
Could I now ask you to please raise your hands, and we'll get a microphone to your questions. Thank you. Thanks.
Rassie, you just touching on Matt's question. You guys will be facing Ireland in July. Recently, former Wales captain Sam Hamilton came out and made a bold statement saying Ireland is the best team in the world, and the rest of Europe has followed suit, including England last week after beating Ireland. What are your thoughts on this statement, and does this create excitement ahead of the fixture?
I heard the question. Where? Oh, there. Yeah. No. No, I think you've got to know us that we don't really listen to what other people are saying. We try to stay in our own reality, and which is the right. Sometimes we can have our own reality and not also be as honest with ourselves and think we're much better or much worse than we are. No, if other people think England's the best or Ireland's the best, it can't make a difference with the way we prepare, the way we select our team, the way we operate, the way we represent this country, and the love we have for the Springboks. So things like that, yeah, you hear it, but it's not something that you write down in a notebook and discuss later.
Hi, Rassie. Morning, Mark. Rassie, 2 World Cups is great, and obviously building towards 2027. I think over the last 4 years, but also traditionally, the Springboks win about 67% of the test matches. Is the goal, another goal is always to win, but is it to become the dominant team and get that win percentage up to 80-90% between World Cups? Is that the next sort of evolution of the team?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm not sure building a squad and trialing guys and giving guys opportunity and, making sure that we always improve on squad depth, always change in our team, transformation. By that I'm not just saying black in, white out. I'm saying change the way you do things, trying to stay cutting edge, trying to stay up there. By doing that, sometimes you have to try things, and we certainly did lose a few test matches the last couple of years between Rugby World Cups by trying things to know the answers when we get to the World Cup. So I'll be lying if it would be wonderful as head coach that we do better between World Cups. But then again, do you want to peak and have all the answers in the World Cup? We had 2 runs now at doing it. At 2020, COVID did bugger us around a bit, but we've got a clean slate this next 4 years. So while we're in the first year already, 3 months into the first year already. So I would rather win the World Cup than sit at 88 or 82 or 83, or it's for me a better result than consistently not winning the World Cup at all, but being 80 or 85%. So I'm not 100% sure. We'd love to get that winning percentage up, but we surely have to be brave and take chances with youngsters and get those 3 things right.
Rassie, it's Ashfaq here.
That's right.
Just in terms of the additions to the coaching group,
Yeah.
you mentioned Tony earlier, and then you've also got Paddy Sutherland as a performance analyst. Lindsay has been there all the time. In terms of that evolution and growth of the team, in terms of playing style, particularly Tony Brown, in terms of the attack, I know that was something you guys really wanted to work on after 2019, and you see COVID sort of messed up your plans there. What's the sort of goals and what are you actually trying to achieve in terms of the attack and what you want to see from the box?
Specifically attack on Tony, yeah. The other guys that you mentioned there, like Paddy was with us at the World Cup, but pure as a consultant. Yes, and you'll also see Sebastian Prim there, who's a sports scientist. So it's nice words that we use that we, when we rejig our coaching staff of this. Repurpose, sorry. Yeah, I was at the 7th. He was Paul True's SNC. But he can do stats and everything. But as the president helped me here now, we did go and repurpose all the people and say, guys, but what is the best? How can we perform better after we did our assessment of our World Cup, and what do we need? We're probably the only country in the world that only have 1 analyst, where other countries have 4 or 5. I mean, well, I think France had something like 18. So we had to repurpose those things to make sure that, listen, if we want to get better, we must change some things, not just for the sake of changing it, to get better. Now, Tony, we would have loved to keep Felix. I'll be lying to you, because the work ethic he brings is really exceptional. Tony's got the same work ethic, but Tony looks a little bit different to the attack, and that's, as I said, the 3 things that keeps you down there is when you have too much arrogance and you say my way is the only way, and you say, let's not be creative. Now, Tony is certainly creative. Tony certainly have a lot of plans, doable plans, not pie in the sky, rugby, but real rugby solutions to things. And then you've got Jerry. Now, Jerry, I mean, I don't know if the Irish clone the people, but Jerry's got exactly the same work ethic as Jock again, and as Felix has. On the defense side, analysis and hours of watching opposition footage is unfortunately one of your big part of your job. And the things that we've done in these last couple of 4 or 5 days was really exciting. And it's things that if we get it right at the right time, I think we can see a lot of improvement.
Rassie, an interesting, I think this ties in a little bit to what Craig asked, but you finished the World Cup with quite a few players in your group that were in their 30s. So how big a challenge is that for you in terms of weighing up the short and the long term, and how will you deal with that?
Yeah, we did in 2018. We did a roadmap of the players, and we said, where will this guy be in 2019? Where will he be in 2023? Where will he be in 2027? So we know exactly which players will think can last another year, and we've given them specific tasks to help the youngsters and before they leave here and maybe reach their 100 test match or a milestone, because they are still good enough. And we certainly are not going to against Ireland, who's number 2 in the world, and we haven't beaten since 2016. And I think then the last score we got against them, or the first score when I started out as coach, was the 39-3, something like that. So we first want to rectify that, and they will probably still use some of those old dogs, you know, the guys who knows them well, who's played against them. And then we've got gradually a system where we think, okay, this Papa is going to say goodbye now. He has to do family stuff. This guy is probably going to do X, Y, and Z. So it is a challenge, but the challenge is more so to tell the player you must actually stop now. I think that's really a tough one, because there's some guys who's in their 30s who just sees themselves win another World Cup. And if they play well, I mean, Johnny Sexton was 39 or 38 when they fell out of the World Cup, but he was still playing there. But I don't foresee our age going much over average of 29-30.
Rassie Erasmus from News 24. Yeah, what does that mean? I was going to actually ask about Sia, and maybe one of the chats been with him. Does he want to do it for 4 more years? I mean, realistically, do you think that's a possibility? If you can share any of that, roadmap looking ahead in terms of what you see for him?
Yes, I can share it with you. You know, there's a lot of players that sign overseas with clauses in their contract that say they will stop playing international rugby. They will just play for their club, and then obviously the club gives that guy much more money because he'll be available for them whenever they need him. Now, Sia did not sign a clause like that. I mean, that's the first thing that tells you, he wants to play for South Africa. I actually think he's playing some of his best rugby. He looks really relaxed. We've got a lot of guys all over the world like that, Kitsy and Ulster, but Sia, a specific one, being our captain. I would always love to have our captain locally based. Yeah, it would be great. It's just a call and the guy hops on a flight, and you can have a weekend together and you can quickly plan and do things and work out stuff. This is a unique situation. He will be considered. And I think he will play some test matches because he definitely wants to, and he's playing well enough, so why would it stop us that? What are we going to do about captaincy? If we get the feeling that it's doable, and they know him so well, the players, because he's worked with them 8 years now, maybe there's place for that, but I'll first have to suss it out and feel it out and see if it works or not work.
Hello, Rassie.
Hello.
Just on the players that you feel you need depth in, have you identified those positions? At loose forward, it still looks good, but there's plenty of young eighthman that can step in where Dwayne left off. There's guys at 10 who can fill a spot where someone out in who's not in the picture. Have you identified more or less who your third guy, fourth guy is now? At the World Cup, you didn't, in certain positions, didn't have that third, fourth guy.
Did we not? Okay. No. We team selection every Tuesday. We do team selection as the guys played on Saturday. Every Tuesday we sit and we go through as coaches and we keep the selectors up to date. And then on Thursday and Friday we work on analysis on the test team that we play. Wednesdays the guy can work from home and see what they see, and then we bring it together. So we pretty much think, even in 23, as you say, where you thought we might not have all the backup. If you think about it, we've tried a hell of a lot of things to have all the backup, and that's what we'll do again. If you can remember, we beat New Zealand at Bombela, then we started Joseph in Joburg, purely for the reason to know, can this be done? So we did check those boxes and see, can this guy fit in there? And at the end of the day, a Dion Fourie just made more sense for us, and that specific thing of getting Andre in. We've got wonderful guys coming through. and guys that we met now at the alignment camp, guys that I haven't met in person before. I've walked past them and seen them on TV, but never had them at the alignment camp. And that's why the alignment camp is so important, for that player to know, how do I make the Springbok side? Get aligned with the coaches. Don't play like they want you to play, but you must be able to do X, Y, and Z. So we share a hell of a lot of that. And hopefully by planning like we do, when we go into 2027, we've got 2 big dogs that's permanently in the team and a young dog barking at the door. You know, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Mr. Alexander, I see you begging for a question there.
I don't see, okay, there.
Yeah, sorry. Has Sorry come to an agreement with the test venues? I believe it was 85 million in total you guys were asking for.
Are you talking about the issue about the test? Okay, let me give you some background on the test. You know, we've strategically allocated tests to our test unions, the ones that are stadiums. And that was done to boost their season tickets and hospitality of suites sales, as well as to assist them in generating revenue, additional revenue. We stand as unique because we're the only international rugby union that allocates tests to a member. We're the only union. Internationally, if you look at what the test revenues bring in for organizations like the RFU, who generated last year 48.8 million pounds, that's without hospitality. The Irish Rugby Union, 43 million euros. Wales, 48 million pounds. That's with hospitality. So I think we've been more than generous to assist our franchises in generating additional funds for them. What shocked me was to read about it in the press without talking to us first. The first time we saw it, when it was published in the press. But that we'll deal with our members at the members forum on Thursday, and we'll talk about that because it's unique. We thought we were assisting them, we thought it was goodwill to allocate tests to member unions, where around the world, that is part of the union's main revenue stream. And for unions to complain and paying for the test guarantee, what's the test guarantee for? The test guarantee is for because we have to pay for the assembly cost of the Springboks, we have to pay for the landed cost of our guests, we have to pay for the activation of the test venues and the advertising and all the other stuff that goes around there. So there is a cost involved. And to the number that we're asking for is small, considering the revenue they can generate there. A revenue with a 50,000 seater stadium, minimum 45 to 50 million rand revenue can be generated. So to get an extra 20 or 30 million rand for a test for a union, it's a lot of money. And we give it to them. That money could be shared with all other 14 unions. But we're assisting the bigger unions because we understand they're the golden goose because they play at a different level to the rest of the unions. But to read about in the press is a sad day, and we'll deal with that at our members forum.
Rassie Erasmus.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's
Yeah.
good to meet you. I just want to go back to your selection process. You spoke last year, utility was a big issue and a very vital issue in terms of team selection. Are you going to go with the utility option as a key like you were last year, or are you going to go for more specialists?
Yeah, I think what your 23 best players on the day, or let's say your squad of 42, you want your best players in there. And if a lot of them are utility, then a lot of them are utility. If a lot of them are specialized, but they're best, then they specialize. So it's not like we go and say, let's find a utility guy. You know, it's like the guys who place the best on the roadmaps, how we measure them. Sometimes subjective. Sometimes it's just your opinion. Sometimes that's stats that backs that up. Sometimes it's hours of talking to the guy. And sometimes, if you compare a Mani and a Andre, it's two very different players, but both are match winners on the day. So, Jan-Hendrik Wessels can play loose-set and he can play hooker. You got Sos who can play flank. I'm talking about guys who are also on the old side of things. Kumedi can play probably blindside flank and eighth man. There's so many, let's say there's 8 scrums in the game, and let's say there's 16 lineouts. Then the other are general play. So it does help when you have utility guys and guys who can play on almost any position, because the bulk of your ball and play, which is now probably 32 minutes or something like that. Well, if you're New Zealand, it's probably 40, but if it's South Africa, it's around 30 or something like that. And through that, then only a couple is line-outs and scrums. The other is actually making decisions in general play. That was where the game was last year. We must see where the game is this year and make sure that we get the right blend of natural players and specialist players and versatile players.
Ladies and gentlemen, just we've got time for 2 or 3 more questions with the stop table, so please just get ready.
Rassie, soos jy dit, ek stap net 'n bietjie in Afrikaans as ek kan gee nie. Die aanstelling van Tony en Jerry asseblief en die opgewondenheid van die 24ste seisoen vir jou en net 'n bietjie oor Sia ook en sy roadmap soos jy gesê het na vore lees weet.
Die laaste deel?
Oor net 'n bietjie oor Sia en
oor Sia, ja, eerstens om weer te sê, ek hoop nie iemand dink ooit mens vat hierdie hoofcoach-posisie as gebeur maar net hier. So is 'n groot ding vir hou, is 'n groot eer, is 'n span waarvoor ek lief is 'n land waarvoor ek lief is, en die besluite wat ons rondom dit neem, is nie net heeltyd emosioneel rondom jouself gedrywe nie. Dit is met kontak met die president en die CEO en HR en die selectors en is 'n baie groter proses om op die ou en die regte ou hier te kry met visums en al daai klas van dinge. So dit het nie sommer net so gemaak. Okay, ons vat die ou nie. Weet jy, moet ouens uit kontrakte uitkry, moet hoor wanneer kontrakte uitkry. Daar's manne wat daai 2 ouens gejaag het by ander lande wat hulle wou in die mix gehad het. So ons is bevoorreg, dink ek moes probeer die Springbok coach te wees. Baie bevoorreg, ek besef dit. Ek dink Tony is bevoorreg om by ons te wees, maar ons is ook bevoorreg om Tony te hê. Ek ken hom al jare, weet hoe hy dink, weet hoe hy speel, het al saam met hom afgerig, het hom al afgerig. Jerry bring hy tipiese Jacques Felix work ethic van ure en ure tot hy die kleinste details sien in 'n video session wat vir ons 5% 'n bietjie kan help in die game of so. Die eerste 2 dae was net ons as coaches, ons het lekker ge-align hoe ons dinge gaan doen, en toe kom die spelers, en ek dink dis een van die kampe waar die spelers nog die meeste geniet het, met die informasie wat daai 2 manne met hulle gedeel het. En dan Sia gaan Sia nog speel, ja, Sia het nie, soos ek verstaan, 'n kontrak geteken, maar hy moet op met internasionale rugby nie, hy speel redelik goed, ons moet nog uitwerk. Hoe sal dit werk, hy kaptein van daai kant is van die span hier, ek moet nog 'n bietjie wat afbounce van ons leierskap en so aan. Miskien is dit moontlik, miskien is daar iemand beters hierso, maar ons wil definitief die regte besluit neem wat die beste is vir die Springbok.
Hi, Rassie again, and Mark. 2-part question. Rassie, just personal, what motivates you? It's a high-pressure job. You've been doing it for a long time. Just give us your insights into the slog of another 4 years in a way. What drives you? And Mark, just quickly, as sorry, throwing more budget at Springboks, it looks like it's through the support staff and so on. Have you sort of increased your financial support to Springboks for the next 4 years?
Well, I'm buggered already, so I might as well just go. No, I'm joking. No, look, what the highs are flipping high, and the lows are very low. But you just can't take those highs away when you see people's eyes, and you see the gratitude, and you see the people at the airport, and you have that feeling when you're in the change room just before you run out. So it doesn't matter how much pressure there is. I mean, I'm one of those guys. I say if you love something enough and you can't contribute in the way you should step away. So I will always be not begging for my job. If I'm not good enough and the fans want me out, then it's time to go. But at this time, I'm so in love with this country and the way we do things and the way they support the Springboks that I can't think of a nicer job to have with all the pressure and all the other stuff which will come. and people will be upset at times, and I will be upset at times, but I've seen this movie before, and I like this movie.
Just to answer your question, if one must look at how South African rugby generates its money. We generate 90% of our revenue by participating in international competitions. Previously it was the Super Rugby, now it's the URC, and the Springboks. The Springboks generates more than 60% of our revenue. So it's a very important component of South African rugby, and that's our